What is up, everybody? Happy Sunday, and welcome back to the Everything Crypto Show, where we keep you up to speed on the most important news moving the crypto markets. Now, we are back today with the weekly CRO Coin update, and there are three key things I do want to get through in today's video. The first one here being an upgrade that did take place on the Crypto.org chain this previous week, and if you are currently staking your CRO Coin via the Crypto.org chain for that juicy double-digit staking yield, you definitely are going to want to pay attention to what happened in this upgrade, as your rewards may now be slashed post-upgrade. The second thing I do want to cover in today's video is the Cronos chain here, the second blockchain that CRO Coin is the native token of, and it is currently sitting in 10th place in terms of total value locked across all blockchains at risk of falling out, and this comes at a time when the competition for a top 10 spot here in terms of the blockchain total value locked is increasing. We now saw OKX this previous week, the third largest centralized exchange by customer assets, announce their very own OKB chain expected to launch soon this year, and we also saw Coinbase here announce their very own Ethereum Layer 2 solution in the form of Base. So lots of these centralized exchanges are now trying to make their very own blockchains and actually kick the Cronos chain out of the top 10. And this comes at a time when the Cronos team themselves does have plans to accelerate the growth and use of this blockchain via Cronos Play. There are two very big games, or games that I do expect to be big for the Cronos chain, making their way onto this blockchain later this year, that I do think could be what Cronos needs to give it a big boost in terms of volume and total value locked. So we're going to break all that down in this video, and without further ado, it is time to sit back, relax, grab that morning cup of joe, and enjoy the show. Now, before we hop into the content, make sure to hit that sub, like, and notification bell if you have not already, and join the Everything Crypto Squad. And with that, we're going to hop right in here with the question of the day. And today I want to know, do you think the Cronos chain can become a top 5 blockchain in the future? Let me know in the YouTube comments down below. And obviously, we just spoke about how it is currently in 10th place at risk of falling out of the top 10. But I believe previously it has made its way up as high as even 7th place here. So do you think that Cronos can accelerate its growth and become a top 5 blockchain in the future? I am curious to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And with that, we're going to hop right in here with the CRO Coin update in terms of the price analysis. So I've been saying for the past couple of weeks to keep an eye on the bull market support band, which has acted as resistance here for CRO Coin throughout majority of this bear market. And you can see here once again that CRO Coin did briefly try to break above it, but one thing we do always talk about here on the channel is actually waiting for a confirmed breakout. Do not just buy as soon as you see a breakout on the chart. We want to actually see a confirmed breakout of a candle above a key technical area. And a perfect example of where this can actually be applied or be important here is if we take a look at Bitcoin and move on to a weekly chart. And I've talked about this multiple times, how Bitcoin actually has to get above the 200-week and the 50-week moving average on a closed weekly candle to be confirmed bullish. And you can see here that 2 weeks in a row, the candle wicked above these key technical areas, but then closed below the area, indicating that Bitcoin was not able to successfully make this breakout. If you had bought right on the breakout area, you would have got wrecked, as Bitcoin did touch 25K and is now sitting at 23K. But if you actually played it patient here and waited to see how the candle closed, you would see that Bitcoin did not close above the key breakout area, and therefore it is not staying in the bullish state that it was from this year-to-date rally for the most part. And that's a perfect example of why you do want to actually wait for the candles to close before calling any sort of big breakout move. And you can see here, this is yet again another perfect example of why looking at Cronos, as we tried to break above the bull market support band, got rejected at the 50-day moving average, and are currently now making our way back to the downside. Now, if the crypto market does stay in this bearish state, I do believe that CRO will make its way back down to 5.5 cents in the coming weeks, and that's okay because 5.5 cents has made for a very nice swing trading opportunity in the past. The first time here, it made for a pretty nice swing of about 35% from give or take mid-November to early December here, and the second time we actually saw 5.5 cents act as a very nice swing trade is just based on the year-to-date rally that we have seen in CRO so far. So you can actually see here that on January 1st of this year, CRO Coin did once again hit that 5.5 cent level, and from there it actually rallied all the way up to a peak of about 70% there when it did go just over 9 cents earlier this week. So 5.5 cents has proven to be a very good buying area for CRO. If we do make our way back down there in the coming weeks and months, I will consider taking on a swing trade there, as it has made for a very juicy swing trade previously. But until then, I am simply playing it patient and waiting for CRO to make its way back to the downside downside. This is not a CRO specific move. This is the rest of the crypto market cooling off after a very hot January and, halfway through February. And yeah, I'm just going to wait to see what happens next. But as always, I will keep you guys updated on the price action. Now we are going to hop into the news here, starting off with the Crypto.org chain upgrade that did take place on February 22nd. The Crypto.org chain was halted for about 2 hours during the upgrade. All activity was paused, and this was in fact to push out the Crypto.org version 4.0 release. Now, in this release, there was really one big thing that I do want to talk about. And this was the community proposing to impose a minimum commission fee of 5% on all chain validators' commission rates. As a response to this request, the team did implement this 5% minimum commission rate in the upgrade. And the team is not just doing this to take more rewards away from the people who are staking on the network. There is actually a fundamental reason for this that I'm going to show you guys. So here is the Crypto.com DeFi wallet tutorial. And for starters, if you are not actually using the Crypto.com DeFi wallet, but you do have any CRO coin in your portfolio, definitely go ahead and check out this video to learn how you can start earning that double-digit yield on your CRO. So the reason they did this here is because, as you can see, when you actually go to stake your CRO, a lot of these validators were offering a 0% commission fee. And what this was causing was a lot of people to stake their CRO with the same validators to get the most of the rewards, as anybody would, as I did myself. But this leads to some of these validators having massive shares of the overall share of CRO coin being staked. We can see here that right off the bat, the top 4 validators make up over, 11, 21. The top 4 validators here make up over 35%, so over 1/3 of all CRO that is being used to support the network. And that is because most likely all 4 of these validators are in fact offering a 0% commission fee. And now what they are trying to do is make it so that there has to be a minimum of 5% commission implemented to just get people to further spread their CRO around. So in terms of kind of getting people to decentralize the blockchain as much as possible, and I say as much as possible because right off the bat, I mean, if your altcoin has any sort of team behind it, foundation, people who can either change the tokenomics or the dynamics of the blockchain, it is not decentralized. I would argue that Bitcoin is really the only decentralized blockchain out there, but the Crypto.org chain is trying to make it as decentralized as possible by encouraging people to spread their CRO out amongst more validators to reduce the voting power that these top validators do have on the overall implementations on the blockchain. And yeah, overall, I don't think it's that big of a deal in terms of the reward structure as well. I mean, when you think about that 5%, it's not 5% of the APY being offered. What it actually is 5% of the rewards that you would receive. So for example, if you were receiving 1,000 CRO every year in staking rewards, that is now going to be 950 CRO because 50 is going to be taken off as that 5% commission rate. So really not a big deal in my opinion, but I did get a question about what happened to Jerry's pool. Why did the commission go from 0% to 5%? And that is exactly why that happened. So just so you are aware, if you were previously in a 0% commission fee pool, that is no longer the case. It will now be a minimum of 5% across all validators on the Crypto.org chain. So that is it for the Crypto.org chain. And now I do want to focus on the Cronos chain. This is the second blockchain that the Crypto.com team launched using CROcoin as the native token for this blockchain. And we have been giving you guys weekly updates on CROcoin and Cronos for quite a while now. Now, Cronos here is currently sitting in 10th place across all blockchains in terms of TVL with $394 million of value USD locked onto this blockchain. We have Mixin here in 11th place with $369 million in TVL. So only about $25 million behind Cronos from actually surpassing it and knocking Cronos into 11th place. And then we got Solana in 9th place here with 491 mil in TVL. So roughly $97 million ahead of Cronos in terms of that value locked. And this does come at a time, if we actually take a look here at the Cronos chain, a daily transaction chart, they're pretty much between like early December up to now, Cronos has been averaging, let's say anywhere between like let's say like 50,000 to 100,000 on the higher end here in terms of transactions. But you can see here that we're doing like a minimum of let's say 55,000 transactions on a day and a maximum of 100,000 transactions per day. And you can see here that based on the all-time chart here for Cronos in terms of daily transactions, that it is pretty much at all-time lows here since the blockchain has come out. Now, it's worth noting a couple of things. For starters, the Cronos chain came out in November 9th of 2021. Crypto.com was trying to capitalize off the hype of the Crypto.com staples arena when they announced the Cronos chain. This was also near the tail end of the bull market. Actually, the exact top for Bitcoin did come in this month, November of 2021. So the first thing that is definitely worth noting, in my opinion, is that the Cronos chain did come out when the market was pretty much at the peak of a bull run, and now it is experiencing on-chain activity during a bear market after a year, almost a year and a half of being in a bear market at this point, right? And we know that historically speaking, on-chain activity does tend to be lower in these bear markets. There is less people just really transacting via these blockchains, so that is not out of the ordinary at all. The one thing I do want to kind of take a look at though now is kind of relate this back to the question that I asked at the beginning of the video, is that do you think Cronos can become a top 5 blockchain in terms of TVL? So what I want to do here is actually compare the transactions per day to the transactions being made on Avalanche, which is currently sitting exactly in 5th place across all blockchains, and Polygon currently sitting in 6th place across all blockchains. So keep in mind here, we have this range for Cronos between, let's say, 50,000 to 100,000 in terms of transactions per day. Now let's go take a look at snowtrace.io. This is effectively the Ether scan here of Avalanche, and take a look at the detailed chart of its daily transactions, which is ranging here between, like, give or take 100,000 there. I saw 92,000 and just under 200,000. So the low to high range for Avalanche's blockchains, Cronos chain is averaging 50,000 on the low end, Avalanche on the high end. Avalanche is doing just under 100,000 on the low end and over 200,000 on the high end. This indicates right here that Avalanche is doing, give or take, 90 to 100% more transactions than the Cronos chain is doing. And it's also worth noting here that Avalanche is also in and around the levels that it did see back here in November, which was the peak. It's actually below the transactions amount we saw in the peak of the bull run. But regardless, still doing here about double the transactions that the Cronos chain is doing. And let's take a look here at Polygon as well, currently sitting in 6th place. So Cronos was in between 50 to 100K, Avalanche in between 100 to 200K, and Polygon actually destroying both of them here with a range between like 2.2 million and what's this right here, 3.7 million. So Polygon absolutely destroying these other two in terms of the daily transactions. Just to give you guys kind of like an idea of what Cronos is looking at here in terms of working its way into the top 5. Another way we can kind of look at this is taking a look at the charts and stats and going to the unique wallet addresses. Cronos here is looking at about 1.076 million unique wallet addresses. Now let's take a look at Avalanche here in terms of those unique addresses, and that is currently sitting at, let's see, 5.1 million. And let's take a look at Polygon here in terms of unique addresses. So charts and stats. And that's currently sitting at just over 220 mil. Whoa, that cannot be right. 220 mil. That is right. Okay, so Polygon is destroying both of these actually in terms of TVL and transactions per day. But the point being here is that this is what Cronos is looking at in terms of the competition if it does want to work its way up to a top 5 or 6 spot. And at the moment, Avalanche and Polygon do have a substantial lead over Cronos. Now, this does come at a time where the competition is also ramping up for the Cronos chain in terms of the centralized exchange tokens wanting to make their very own blockchains. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at centralized exchange transparency here, and this shows you guys a list of the total value locked across all these different crypto exchanges. We have Binance in first with $71.73 billion in customer assets. We know that Coinbase is actually roughly ahead of Binance in terms of customer assets on the platform. I think I saw that it has $80 billion roughly. I did not verify that or fact check that, but I'm pretty confident to say that Coinbase and Binance are in first and second. Then in third place here, OKX comes at 8.02 billion in TVL. Bitfinex in fourth with 7.86 billion, and Crypto.com in fifth with 3.58 billion. For some reason, DeFi Llama does not have Coinbase on this list, but once again, I'm fairly confident Coinbase does take either first or second place here. And what I'm trying to point your guys' attention to mainly is OKX here. This is the crypto platform that has $8.02 billion worth of customer assets, over double Crypto.com's $3.58 billion. They do also have their very own native token in the form of OKB token that I do want to show you guys here on the chart, because OKB has been a very strong performer in 2023. We can actually see that it did hit new all-time highs in the middle of this bear market rally, this accumulation phase, whatever you want to call it. currently up 6% on the day, while the rest of these cryptocurrencies are falling at the moment. And if we take a look at this all-time chart here, you can see that yes, it is actually still in all-time high territory despite pulling back from that all-time high. Now, the reason being is because OKX rather, the centralized exchange, announced that they are going to be launching their very own OKB chain. So what they basically said that this will run parallel to the already existing OKX chain, but the OKB chain will be developed and managed solely by the OKX company, which is in contrast to the OKX chain that is a 100% community-driven project. So kind of like the Cronos chain here, where we know that the Crypto.com team does have their very own Cronos team within the company that does have a sort of more like hands-on development with the Cronos chain. And it looks like OKX is doing the same thing here with their very own OKB chain. They are going to announce more details regarding the network's infrastructure and consensus algorithm and plan to launch this project before the end of Q1 2023, which means that sometime within the next month to month and a half, OKB chain should be launched. And you can see here that based on the current predictions, okay, never mind the predictions. What I kind of want to talk about more so is the fact that yes, if OKB chain does launch, if it is a success, this could be like a big fundamental reason for the price of OKB token to go up. And the reason being here is because now OKB is not only a centralized exchange token, it also is a native blockchain token. If this blockchain is a proof of stake chain, you will be incentivized to lock up your OKB in return for a yield. And if the OKB chain does a lot of transactions, OKB is going to be the token used to pay those gas fees. So that is why the OKB chain is ripping, the OKB token here is ripping. Yet again, another centralized exchange that is looking to take their token and make it into a blockchain token as well. Very similar to exactly what BNB and Crocoin have done with their native exchange tokens. And the second thing here we actually heard this week came from Coinbase announcing Base, an Ethereum layer 2 offering a secure, low-cost, developer-friendly way for anyone, anywhere to build decentralized applications. They say their goal with Base is to make on-chain the next online and onboard 1 billion plus users into cryptocurrency. Now, the first thing to note right off the bat is that Base is not a token. They do not plan to issue a new network token for Base, and they will use ETH as the native gas token. Funny enough, I want to search Base. Yeah, this was it right here. So clearly, a lot of people did not actually read what Coinbase said about Base not being a token. And let's take a look at what happened here. There actually was this token named Base that absolutely shot up here from a price of, on February 19th, it sat at 86 cents. It ran all the way up to $6.81 here and is now currently back trading at just over $1. But that has no relation to what Coinbase is building here with Base themselves. You can see that via Base, you can build anything from games, NFT solutions, decentralized applications, lending platforms, stable coins, as Base is a secure, low-cost, developer-friendly Ethereum layer 2, and they are basically intending to leverage the 110 million verified users and $80 billion of assets on the platform and try and move them from CeFi into DeFi. Base is built on Optimism's OP stack, making it one of the most secure, scalable EVM layer 2s out there, and Base is incubated within Coinbase, planning to progressively decentralize in the years ahead. We know that Coinbase has really been going back and forth with the SEC, calling them out for a lot of their crap this year, and now we see Coinbase taking a move to actually go ahead and just further encourage decentralization through this layer 2 solution. I have to wonder what the SEC is going to have to say about this, given that Coinbase is a publicly traded company in the US, which is a big reason I suspect that Coinbase opted to not drop their own token in correspondence with this layer 2 solution. But at the same time, I still think that the SEC is going to try and find some way to shut this down if they possibly can, or deter Coinbase from going live with this launch. This does come at a time also where I believe Coinbase is trying to capitalize off the big boom in layer 2 solutions here. We can see that in the past month, Optimism is up 34.71% in total value locked, and Arbitrum is up 56.81% in terms of TVL. And to put this into perspective for how these two layer 2s have behaved since the new year, at the beginning of the year, January 1st, Optimism had 517 mil in TVL, now up to 929 mil, so over a 90% increase in TVL on the platform. And then let's take a look at Arbitrum here, which has seen a 56.81% increase in the past month. But if we actually take a look at how it has performed since the new year, as of January 1st of 2023, Arbitrum was sitting at $1.38 billion billion in TVL, now sitting at 2.56 billion. So both Optimism and Arbitrum had almost or just under a 2x there in terms of TVL, and it would appear that now Coinbase is trying to capitalize on this layer 2 boom that we have been seeing in the form of their very own base layer 2 solution. So the competition for the Cronos chain is increasing, but this does not mean that the Cronos team does not have something else going up their own sleeves, and that's why I want to wrap this up here talking about Cronos Play. Now, we spoke about this in yesterday's video, but that was more of like a broader video based on GameFi and blockchain gaming, why I think that is going to be a massive driver of growth in the next bull run. If you do want to check that out, by the way, definitely feel free to check out yesterday's video to learn a bit more about GameFi as a whole. But I do want to wrap up this video focusing specifically on Cronos Play. Now, right off the bat, you can see that Cronos Play is interoperable with two of the biggest game engines in the industry, Unity and Unreal. Now, for starters, let's go to the Unity game engine, and you guys can see that what they have to offer there in terms of their supports. So let's go to Unity real-time development. Let's go to products, no, solutions, games. So on Unity, any of these game developers do actually have the opportunity to create their very own game, as well as build, manage, and grow their game through Unity software. And the second engine that is interoperable here with Cronos Chain is the Unreal Engine. Now, whether you are a gamer, maybe one of your kids is a gamer, someone in your family, a friend is a gamer, you have most likely seen the Unreal Engine put to work, as this is in fact the game that does run Fortnite, one of the biggest games of this generation so far. So yes, the Unreal Engine has definitely proven itself to be a very popular gaming engine that can put out some very impressive games. I believe the Unreal Engine did also actually run Little Big Planet, if any of you do remember that game. Yeah, there's the guy from Little Big Planet, whatever his name is. So yeah, Cronos Chain is definitely mindful of getting some of the biggest and really like most sophisticated gaming engines interoperable with their blockchain, which I do think is the key to creating blockchain games that of high quality AAA games that people actually want to play. Now, additionally, the Cronos team is also working on their very own Web3 game in the form of the Loaded Lions main city, which does sound very interesting as a tycoon simulator featuring their very own Crypto.com NFT project, the Loaded Lions. Now, more specifically, when it comes to this game, you can see right here in the frequently asked questions that main city is going to be a tycoon-style game powered by Cronos using the Cronos Play SDK, and basically each player is an entrepreneur with the goal of building and designing their dream city and mansion. The rewards earned from gaining experience points along with the strategic placements of your buildings in the game can ultimately be exchanged for CRO. So this is in fact going to be a play to earn game. You do not need a Loaded Lion or a Cybercub. You simply need one of the Crypto.com land NFT tiers. Any of the tiers is going to give you access to this Web3 game. Now, given the fact that the Loaded Lions is a Crypto.com specific NFT project as well as the Cybercubs and the land, given that the Crypto.com team does oversee the Cronos chain with their own dedicated team, and that they are looking to sort of like bring the next wave of users from CeFi into DeFi via the Cronos chain, you know that they want this game to be a banger. I really hope they can make this game one that brings a lot of attention to the Crypto.com platform, the Loaded Lions, as well as the Cronos chain itself. And they did actually release this here. When was this? February 23rd. They went ahead and launched a couple of different definitions for the main city glossary that kind of teases what we can expect in the game. So the first one is business, your source of the in-game currency. Gold, all of them can be upgraded to boost their daily earnings. Then we have gold, not a cryptocurrency. This in-game currency can be used to upgrade your businesses and get you on the leaderboard. And then maybe depending on how much gold you have, that can physically translate into you swapping it for CRO. Who knows? Blueprint, a design plan or a technical drawing is your ticket to the main city's various businesses. Diamond, the hardest substance you can find in main city apart from the Loaded Lions abs. The rarity of your Crypto.com land NFT determines how quickly you generate this resource. So the higher the rarity of your land, the quicker you are going to get diamonds. And then mansion, your home in main city and where you will rest and relax after a day's hard day's work, sorry. So yeah, the Loaded Lions game, I hope it does come at some point this year. Definitely something that, again, I hope the Crypto.com team smashes out of the park, and this could bring a lot of volume and TVL back to the Cronos chain if it is a success. And the second game that I do want to highlight here quickly is the Argonauts Atlantis game that is set to launch this year. And you can see here that somebody just dropped over $300,000 worth of, or sorry, 300K worth of CRO to buy the entire planets at floor and bring the floor from 570 CRO to 910 CRO. Now let's assume that CRO had a price of 8 cents when they bought this with 300,000 CRO. That is roughly 24,000 USD worth of planets that were picked up off the floor here. So what exactly are these Atlantis planets? Well, we can take a look at this, as this is the Argonauts' latest play to earn offering. And Argo Finance, I'm going to go ahead and search them in here. Argo Finance actually started off as a liquid staking solution here for the Cronos chain, where you can actually swap your CRO for B CRO, and then you can use your B CRO to basically double dip and stake it elsewhere. Liquid staking can be very advantageous if you know your way around these specific DeFi ecosystems that are offering these liquid staking solutions. And they branch into NFTs here with the Argonauts. And what it effectively allows you to do is actually pick up an Argonaut NFT and stake your Argonaut NFTs for a boosted staking yield. Now they're adding an additional layer of utility to the Argonauts through Atlantis, their very own play-to-earn game, which does have 2 core game loops: going on planet expeditions, going on spaceship races. Atlantis consists of a few interwoven key assets, namely planets, spaceships, equipment, Argonauts, and resources. So in brief, planets are resource lands consistently producing the resources needed to play, earn, and progress in the game. Spaceships are prize earners racing for even larger portions of resource rewards. Equipment are items used to make spaceships faster and more competitive. Stardust, gold, and gemstones are the lifeblood resources within the land of Atlantis to be won and used in the ecosystem. Argonauts are the game changers, applying boost to both spaceships and planets in their respective game loops. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but basically, to my knowledge, and kind of like from what I've read on this project already, when you own a planet, you can go on expeditions on said planets to yield valuable resources, stardust, and gemstones, which can be used to upgrade equipment and planets. Equipment does actually make your spaceship faster, and you can actually race versus other players to win valuable resources. So a player versus player, a play to earn aspect, 2 things that I do think will do kind of make for like a very interesting sounding game. And yeah, you can see here that the floor price has been raised from just above 500,000, now sitting, or sorry, just over 500 CRO, now sitting at 977 CRO. And I actually want to go back to Argo Finance and show you guys, they actually do have the homepage set up here for when the game eventually does launch. So let's wait for it to load. Enter app, NFTs. Where is it? Atlantis. There it is. So if you actually go to Atlantis here, you can see that this is kind of like the hub for where the game will launch. Planet Expedition, Gemstone Upgrade, Race Your Spaceships, all of which are coming soon. The Planet Genesis Mint, which did have the 6,000 planets, all of which have minted out. So clearly, people are excited for this game to come out. And once again, I do hope it can show off what the Cronos chain it does have to offer in terms of GameFi. Now to wrap things up, we're going to take a quick look at the growth of Cronos and the Crypto.org chain. Cronos chain, we're not going to spend too much time here because we pretty much spoke about it for the mid portion of this video. Cronos is in 10th place in terms of TVL at the moment, ahead of 11th place by about 25 mil, behind 9th place by 97 mil. We can see here that it's pretty much remained flat since November 24th, actually just kind of slowly bleeding out from 463 mil in TVL, currently sitting at 393 mil in TVL. I mean, just looking like incredibly stable compared to the volatility we usually see in TVL when it does come to crypto. And then in terms of the Crypto.org chain, which we spoke about at the beginning of this video with the version 4.0 upgrade, this one is kind of just steadily growing here in terms of the amount of CRO being staked on the platform, up from 5.33 billion as of January 27th, and now sitting at 5.42 billion as of February 25th. And you can see here that if we actually take a look at the amount of CRO locked up, if you take into account the total circulating supply of CRO of just under 6 billion, this means that of just over 20% of all CRO circulating is currently locked up via the Crypto.org chain. In my opinion, this is bullish because if you actually want to unlock your CRO via the Crypto.org chain, you have to go through a 28-day unbonding period. So once again, of this 25.9 billion CRO circulating right now, 5.423 billion of that is locked up, being staked, and is subject to a 28-day unbonding period if people do want to get it back, effectively removed from the public float for the next 4 weeks, assuming that everybody at the same time wanted to unlock their CRO. So very bullish there for the tokenomics and the supply demand aspect of CRO coin, and that is why we do take a look at the crypto.org chain. So without further ado, I hope you guys did enjoy the content in today's video. You know what to do. If you made it all the way to the end, you are an absolute champion. Let me know in the YouTube comments down below and claim that champion status. I hope you are all having an amazing Sunday, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.